Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most astonishing survival stories ever told. It's a tale of impossible odds, incredible resilience, and the sheer will to live against a backdrop of tragedy. This is the story of Lancer Flight 508 and its lone survivor on December 24, 1971, a day filled with holiday anticipation. LANSA Airlines Flight 508 took off from Lima, the capital of Peru. Its destination was the city of Pucallpa, a journey that would take it over the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Amazon rainforest. On board were 86 passengers, many of them looking forward to celebrating Christmas with their families the very next day. The first 30 minutes of the flight were completely uneventful. The cabin crew served breakfast, the pilots chatted casually about their families, and a festive mood filled the cabin. Passengers were in high spirits, dreaming of the celebrations that awaited them. But as the plane began its descent, the clear skies gave way to something far more sinister. Dark, menacing clouds gathered on the horizon, and a violent storm brewed directly in their path. In a fateful decision, the pilots chose not to detour around the storm, but to fly straight into it. Almost immediately, the world outside the windows turned to pitch black. Lightning began to flash relentlessly, illuminating the terrifying scene. The aircraft started to shake violently as it was battered by severe turbulence. The shaking grew so intense that luggage tumbled from the overhead compartments, crashing down onto the terrified passengers. Panic spread through the cabin like wildfire. This terrifying ordeal continued for nearly 20 minutes. Then, at an altitude of 21,000 feet, the unthinkable happened. A bolt of lightning struck the plane's right wing, and it instantly caught fire. Within seconds, the entire wing broke off, followed by a part of the left wing. But just 15 minutes before its scheduled landing, at around 10,000 feet, the aircraft disintegrated in midair. Back in the control tower, air traffic controllers watched in horror as Flight 508 simply vanished from their radar screens. Initially, there was a glimmer of hope for an emergency landing, but that hope quickly faded. It was clear the plane had crashed. This triggered the largest search and rescue operation in Peru's history. Days later, rescue teams finally reached the crash site deep within the Amazon jungle. The scene was devastating. Wreckage was scattered across a huge area. Suitcases had burst open in the fall, and Christmas presents meant for loved ones were now hanging from the trees like macabre decorations. After days of searching through the dense, remote jungle and finding no signs of life, the operation was concluded. It was officially declared that all 92 people on board had perished. After all, who could possibly survive a fall from such a height? But the world was wrong. Unknown to everyone, one passenger was still alive. 17-year-old Juliane had survived the fall. She was lying injured, alone, and miles from any human settlement in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. The rescue operation had been called off, and her own family, devastated, believed she was gone forever. Juliane had been traveling with her mother. Their destination was the Panguana Biological Research Station, a remote outpost established by her zoologist's parents. The family had planned to celebrate Christmas there together. However, Juliane's school prom and graduation had delayed their travel plans. By the time they tried to book flights, the holiday rush meant all the reliable airlines were fully booked. Their only option was LANSA Airlines. Juliane's father had repeatedly warned them against flying with Lancer. The airline had a notoriously poor safety record, with several crashes in the preceding years. The aircraft they were on, a Lockheed L-188 Electra turboprop, was known to have rigid wings that couldn't handle strong turbulence. In fact, this type of plane had already been retired from service in the United States. But desperate to get home for Christmas, her mother booked the tickets, unaware of the immense risk they were taking. Juliane was sitting in window seat 19F in the second to last row. When the plane broke apart, her entire row of 3 seats was torn away from the fuselage because she was securely fastened by her seatbelt. She remained strapped to her seat as she plummeted nearly 10,000 feet through the sky. She remembered the deafening sound of the plane's engines fading away, replaced only by the roar of the wind rushing past her. Then she lost consciousness. When Juliane finally regained consciousness, it was Christmas morning. December 25th, she had been lying unconscious in the rain all night on the forest floor. Her collarbone was broken. One knee was badly injured, and one of her eyes was swollen completely shut. Her vision was blurred, her glasses were gone, and she had multiple deep cuts and a concussion. But against all imaginable odds, she was alive. Her miraculous survival was the result of a near-impossible combination of 3 factors. First, powerful updrafts from the storm itself likely slowed her descent. Second, the row of seats she was strapped to began to spin, acting like the blades of a helicopter, which further reduced her speed. And finally, her fall was broken by the incredibly dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, which cushioned her impact. But surviving the fall was only the beginning. Now a far greater challenge lay ahead, surviving the Amazon. Alone and injured in the jungle, she called out for her mother, but her cries were answered only by the sounds of insects and birds. The silence was deafening. But Juliane had a secret weapon. She had spent years living in the Amazon with her scientist parents. She knew this environment. She knew how to survive. She drank rainwater collected on leaves and was careful to avoid the poisonous plants that grew everywhere. Food was almost non-existent. For days, her only sustenance was a small bag of candies she managed to find among the wreckage. She remembered a crucial piece of advice her father had once given her. If you are lost in the jungle, follow the water. He had told her that small streams flow into larger ones, and rivers eventually lead to civilization. With this knowledge as her guide, she began her journey. For the next 11 days, she battled hunger, festering infections in her wounds, and the constant threat of dangerous wildlife. She waded through streams filled with stingrays and caimans. She endured hallucinations and crippling exhaustion. The maggoting-infested wounds on her arm were excruciatingly painful. Yet, she refused to give up. She kept moving, following the streams that slowly grew into rivers. Finally, after what must have felt like an eternity, she stumbled upon a small boat and a hut. It was the first sign of human life she had seen. Inside, she found a canister of gasoline, drawing on her knowledge from home. She used the gasoline to clean her wounds and force out the dozens of maggots that had burrowed into her flesh. Soon after, a group of local lumberjacks discovered her. They were stunned to find a young woman alive, so deep in the jungle. They cared for her and took her to safety. Juliane was the sole survivor of Lancer Flight 508. Her story of survival is almost beyond belief. She later followed in her parents' footsteps, becoming a biologist, and has dedicated her life to studying and protecting the Amazon rainforest, the very place that almost claimed her life, but also, in a way, saved it. Her unimaginable story stands as a powerful testament to resilience, the importance of knowledge, and the unbreakable strength of the human spirit. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more amazing historical stories. See you next time.